What's going on, football fans? It's Abdullah with Football in Focus. I'm here with Shaun, and in today's episode, we dive into week 2 and give our thoughts and analysis on all the games that were played. Shaun, how's life? How's it going?
It's good, man. Just got a haircut.
Yes,
Feeling crispy
sir.
clean.
That's what I like to hear, man. That's what I like to hear. Let's
What
let's.
about you, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing great. Just working. The usual. Nothing crazy. Nothing
Yeah,
crazy.
I feel it.
Yeah. So let's start off with Thursday night football as the Vikings go to Philly to face the Eagles. The Eagles win it 34-28. Kirk Cousins, 364 yards and 4 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts didn't really do too much as all they did was mainly run the ball, 193 yards and a touchdown. Alexander Madison, he had a fumble or two. And it's crazy, like he had so much hate on social media, and like the NFL and the Vikings had to condemn the hate. So I'm hoping that he's doing well. DeAndre Swift, 28 carries, 175 yards and a touchdown. Justin Jefferson, 11 receptions and 159 yards, and Devontae Smith, 4 catches, 131 yards and 1 touchdown. I think overall the Eagles played really well, but it was mainly just running the ball. That's what they mainly did the whole time. Any thoughts on that game?
Honestly, it was a career game for DeAndre Swift, and I think a lot of people this year were sleeping on Swift just because of his injury history, but they
Right.
forgot how good of a talent he is.
Mm. Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, it went as expected, aside from like 5 fumbles on the Vikings.
Right. Yeah, it was an interesting, very very interesting game. Lots of turnovers in that one. We're gonna stay in the division as the Jets play against the Cowboys, 30-10. Obviously, no Aaron Rodgers for most likely the whole season. There might be a chance. You never know. Zach Wilson had 170 yards through the air and a touchdown. Dak Prescott 255 and 2 touchdowns. Zach Wilson again led the team in rushing, 5 attempts for 36 yards. Um, Garrett Wilson only had 2 catches, 83 yards and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb, 11 receptions, 143 yards, and Tony Pollard, 25 carries, 72 yards. Overall, I think the Cowboys defense is amazing. Like, you really can't do too much against the pass rush, against the coverage guys in the backfield. I think it was just a defensive clinic altogether. And Micah Parsons just made it so easy to get away from the offensive lineman. Like, way too easy.
Yep, Micah Parsons is that dude.
Yeah, he's he's that guy. I mean, I think I think he might just win MVP. You never know. You never know.
It depends on if the quarterbacks can like continuously play inconsistent, but
Right,
it's a possibility. I mean, he had 2 sacks, a couple of tackles for loss, and
right.
did he get a forced fumble this week? I don't recall.
Um, I feel like he did, but I'm not. I don't remember. There were just so many games that I had to watch.
Yeah,
Yeah. Again, we're gonna stay in the division as the Commanders go against the Denver Broncos. The Commanders come on top. It was a wild one as the Broncos were up, I believe, like 20-0 or 21-3 at one point. Um, and then the Commanders they were just pulling and chugging. There was a questionable call towards the end of the game after Russell Wilson threw an amazing Hail Mary. And normally, when you think of Hail Mary, it's like, yeah, like whichever team threw the Hail Mary won the game. But no, they had to not only get the touchdown, but they also needed to convert to tie the game up. And sadly, Cortland Sutton couldn't make the catch. I think it was pass interference through and through. Were you able to see that play?
I was not.
Yeah, so basically, Cortland Sutton was going right. He went up, went right. And then as he was trying to make the play, the corner was just all over him. Believe it or not, Jerry Jeudy on the other side of the field was pretty open in a way. He was open. They could have had a chance to tie it up, but the Broncos fall 0-2, and the Commanders surprisingly was with Sam Howell, excuse me, it's 2-0. So they have a pretty tight division. on their end. Staying in the division, Giants go against the Cardinals, and my oh my man, this game was very very tough to watch until the third quarter. I feel like the Giants just woke up and realized, oh snap, like the NFL season already started. Like apparently week one they kind of forgot. Week two they just went off and just started scoring and scoring and scoring. Um, Daniel Jones 321 yards and two touchdowns. Josh Dobbs 228 and a touchdown. James Conner 23 rushes, 106 yards and a touchdown. Saquon Barkley 17 rushes, 63 yards and a touchdown. Um, Now, I do know that Saquon did injure his ankle, and as of this recording, he will be out against the 49ers. That was a huge blow to the team as he's probably the best player on that offense. Your thoughts?
So I saw something earlier. I'm not sure. Like, I'm pretty sure he's going to be out, but there was a update somewhere I saw that was he went from doubtful to questionable.
Right.
So I'm assuming he's still going to be out. You know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you never know. Honestly, it's surprising that the Giants defense is this bad. Honestly, like they were solid last year,
Mm-hmm.
and then they had Wink Martindale, who's the Ravens' old defensive coordinator from 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's he's really good. He likes to blitz. Like I would have thought Josh Dobbs would have been
Like uncomfortable.
under pressure. Yeah, like
Right.
he's known for blitzing.
Mm. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think overall, whatever Brian Daboll told the Giants must have woke them up as they win the game, with Graham Gano kicking the field goal and basically sealing the deal. And they go 1-1, and the Cardinals go 0-2. So next up, we have the 49ers going against the Rams, 30-23 49ers. Brock Purdy, 206 yards to the air. Christian McCaffrey, 116 yards rushing. Deebo Samuel, 63 yards and 6 receptions. Matthew Stafford had 307 yards and a touchdown. Kyron Williams, I think that's how you say his name, 14 rushes, 52 yards and a touchdown. And Puka Nakua, I think that's how you say his name. I've heard it multiple different times. 15 receptions, 147 yards. I know you want to talk about this specific guy, this running back right here, so I'll give you the floor on it.
Kyron Williams is the truth, bro. Like, he's one of those guys that a coach loves because he'll do whatever is asked of him, and he does it at such a good level. Like, oh, if I got to block, I'll block. If I got to, stand on the line and block, I'll block on the line. You want me to go out 5 yards and catch a pass? Gotcha. His stats are exactly what you want to see in a Sean McVay offense.
Right. Yeah, I feel like
It's... Go on.
no, I was saying I feel like Sean McVay has definitely upped the ante in terms of coaching, mainly because Cooper Kupp isn't around and all they have to work with is Tyler Higbee, Tutu Atwell, and Puka Nakua, and no one really knew who this guy was. And then week 1 he went off, week 2 he's going off, and the question is, will they be able to split the difference once Cooper Kupp comes around? Because now Matthew Stafford has already built amazing chemistry with Puka Nakua, and now you got to wonder how will that look with Cooper Kupp and the Rams. I think it'll look really well. He will solidify himself as obvious number 2, Cooper Kupp obvious number 1. Yeah.
So here's my opinion on that. I think obviously he's not going to get 15 targets a game with Cooper Kupp in there, you know. But if you look at the snaps, where they're lined up at, Puka is mainly outside, and when Cooper Kupp plays on the field, he's mainly a slot guy.
Exactly.
So to me, it's just a 1-2 punch. You have your number 1 in the slot, who's just going to be the possession guy, and then Puka's going to turn into a 7-target, because they're going to have to throw the ball so much.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get 7 to 10 targets a game and possibly pop off.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it. I see it happening. Obviously, within 2 weeks. People were kind of in shock. They're like looking him up and things like that. But overall, I mean, I think both teams played really well. But the Rams lose it and the 49ers take the win. So next up we
It's
have.
just it.
Go ahead.
I think it's interesting how the beginning of the year the Rams were projected to have the worst O line. They were projected not to win very many games, and now they're 1-1, but they almost beat the Niners, and it was a close game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think a lot of people slept on them.
Yeah. Next up, we have the Raiders going against the Buffalo Bills, 38-10. Raiders defense just did not have an answer for Josh Allen, and Josh Allen responded because they lost to the Jets in Week 1. Pretty interesting game as Josh Allen found his favorite target, Jordan Whitehead, about 2 to 3 times apparently. Yeah, they put up 38 points on the Raiders defense. I mean, the Raiders defense hasn't really been good for a long time. And then to make things worse, Devontae Adams had to leave the game. James Cook, 17 rushes, 123 yards. Gabe Davis had a nice touchdown. And then there just really isn't much for me to say, but the Bills played really well. They responded. They responded very well after Week 1's disaster.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those like, Josh Allen isn't going to throw 3 picks every game.
Right.
Like that's the outlier. Like, sure, like it didn't look good, but it was Week 1. You know, like you're not going to overreact. Like you can talk your little like troll, like you can troll and say Josh Allen's a wash, like Josh Allen and like the interception jokes can get flown. But, like, Josh Allen is going to play at a high level throughout the season.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, Buffalo Bills win it 38-10. The next game, we'll be talking about Seattle going against the Lions. This game went into overtime, and we actually circled this game as well as multiple other games that we'll be talking about throughout throughout the podcast. Seattle wins it 37-31. Geno Smith, 328 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker III, 17 rushes, 43 yards and 2 touchdowns. DK Metcalf, 6 receptions and 75 yards. Over to the Lions side, Jared Goff, 323 and 3 touchdowns. David Montgomery, 16 rushes, 67 yards and a touchdown. He eventually had to leave the game. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 6 receptions and 102 yards. I think this was. I really wish this was a Sunday night football game. This would have been a nice game to watch. Seeing 2 up and coming. No, I mean the Lions are. Their offense is really good, really good. And then,
I think it's struggled a bit this year, but it still has a lot of potential.
It's a work in progress. I still think their offense is good. They could definitely get better. They just have to like clean up a few mistakes here and there. As far as Seattle goes, Geno Smith made a couple of questionable plays, but Tyler Lockett got the game winner, and I mean it was just a good game overall for Seattle because they got the win, and yeah, then the Lions lose. They're both 1-1. Any other things that you have to say about this game in particular?
So Montgomery has. I heard a couple different things. He said he had a thigh bruise, but he was seen with some kind of like assistance. Like I don't remember if it was like a boot or if it was like something like that. I don't think it was a boot, but I think he was walking with a brace on, which doesn't like line up with the bruise.
Right.
But they were saying, like, oh, it's a thigh bruise. Like it might take him a week or 2 to get back to like form. Then another big blow for the Lions is that Amon-Ra St. Brown was seen putting a like metal plate in his foot or like in his shoe.
Wow.
That's concerning because that sounds
crazy.
like turf toe.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, like not to say like depending on the sprain severity, like it could just be like like a stinger on his big toe, like it hurts. But a plate, is
Mm,
generally for like turf toe, like a grade one,
mm,
like, and that's going to limit his production probably.
mm. Yeah. So with that being
And
said,
then,
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
and then I don't think there was any other injuries that I know of.
Mm. Yeah, I was gonna mention with that being said, now that they also have Jameer Gibbs, the rookie from Alabama, so he could definitely do some damage, both in the run game and in the passing game, and I think it could definitely help out Jared Goff through the season, depending on how long David Montgomery is out.
Yeah, I don't. I think a lot of people are going to be like putting them in in their fantasy leagues, expecting like really high upside this week. And it's not that I don't think he could, but I don't think he's going to get it through rushing. Like a lot of people are expecting him to get like a full workload of like rushing and receiving work, and I don't see that happening. Like he's not built for it. Like one game, sure, but he's going against Atlanta too, and they're a very good rush defense.
Yeah, they've gotten better. That team has definitely gotten better. Um, yeah, so let's move on. The Chiefs and Jaguars. Jaguars couldn't score a touchdown. It was 17-9. Patrick Mahomes 305 and two touchdowns. Isaiah Pacheco 17 rushes, 70 yards. Sky Moore 3 receptions, 70 yards, and then Trevor Lawrence 216. Travis Etienne 12 carries, 40 yards, and then Christian Kirk 11 receptions for 110 yards. Um, it was good to see Travis Kelsey back, Chris Jones back. They sort of made immediate impacts throughout the game. Both teams started relatively slow, and then the Chiefs started picking up. Jaguars couldn't close plays. They couldn't finish plays, especially on the offensive side. There were multiple chances for them to score, but toes weren't on the ground, or it was just passes were just too high for the receivers to be able to make the play.
That's what Calvin Ridley had two targets in the end zone where he caught it,
Mm-hmm.
and then he didn't get his feet down.
Yeah.
Like that's just bad luck, bro. Like that's not gonna happen every week. I mean, it can happen every week, but like you don't expect that low of a performance. And the Chiefs' defense is like pretty solid now. Like Trent McDuffie's looking like a good corner. Like they got
Right.
Chris Jones back. He didn't play full snaps. Like it's just one of those like it's one of those like outlier games where it's just a bad game. Like nothing goes your way. And then multiple players were dealing with cramps too. Like ETN was like out in and out dealing with cramps. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't have that. What am I trying to? What word? You don't have that like flow and like
The flow in the
rhythm.
offense. They just didn't have much
Yeah,
rhythm. Yeah.
yeah. It's
Um,
just one of those weeks, and then again, like it's early in the season, bro. So
mm,
you don't panic yet. Like especially if you're in the red zone, you had potential like touchdowns that just didn't land properly.
mm,
That's all right.
yeah. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Both teams are 1-1. A team that hasn't won a game, the Chargers face the Titans. That game went into overtime. All I'm gonna say is, if Austin Eckler was healthy to play this game would have ended a lot differently. Excuse me. Yeah, Justin Herbert 305 and two touchdowns. Josh Kelly 13 rushes, 39 yards. Keenan Allen 8 receptions, 111 yards and two touchdowns. He had a nice touchdown, by the way. Ryan Tannehill,
Yep.
yeah, Ryan Tannehill 246 and a touchdown. Derrick Henry 25 rushes, 80 yards and a touchdown, and then Traylon Burks, Traylon Burks 3 receptions and 76 yards. We also had this game circled. All I'm gonna say is I feel like the Chargers throughout the two games just can't close games. Either they're making mistakes on the defensive side, or they're just not making enough plays on the offensive side. If that makes any sense to you, I want to know your thoughts on this.
Quick update. Saquon Barkley's been ruled out.
Yeah, I said that. I said that earlier.
Did you? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
I
said
thought you said
that.
as of this recording you thought. No, like it's officially ruled out.
No, no, I
I don't
said
know.
that. Yeah, no, you're
Okay,
good.
I'm sorry.
You're fine.
What were you asking me? I'm sorry. I was
No, I
reading
was
that and I
basically
wanted
I was
to
no, no, you're
you.
fine. You're fine. I was basically saying how the Chargers, like, within the
Oh
past
yeah,
two
yeah,
games that I've seen, they either make defensive mistakes, like what we saw against
yeah.
Miami, where um, they had a pass interference call. Then
JC
seconds before
Jackson
halftime,
late
yeah,
pick.
right, exactly. Seconds before halftime, they kick a field goal
Yeah,
and they're up three. And then throughout the whole game, they were up by like 3 points, 4 points, and things
yeah.
like that. And then on the offensive side, they just couldn't make enough plays, or Justin Herbert was just targeting, one or two people. Like, there's other people that he could find open. Yeah, so I just wanted to know your thoughts on that.
Honestly, what it is I think they're putting way too much. Like they have so much star talent on
Dude, they
that
have so much
team.
talent. It's ridiculous.
Like everywhere over the field, cornerback, DN, safety, linebacker, like everywhere, But they just, I, I live in California. For anyone that doesn't know, and I hear it all the time. It's just, but they need to fire Staley, whatever the head coach's
Yeah,
name
Brandon
is,
Staley.
because
Yeah.
he's the offensive coordinator. Like, and then or no,
No, it's Kellen Moore.
yeah, Kellen Moore is the
Yeah.
offensive coordinator, but it's Kellen Moore's scheme, but Staley is like the defensive coordinator. Sorry, I got him mixed up. He like calls what's on the defense, I guess, because he's like a defensive-minded coach. So it's insane to me that he's still there after the defense has like blown so many leads and like choked so many games. Like they've like honestly kind of sucked at stopping the run for years.
Right.
And nothing's changed. They haven't addressed it enough. They just keep like getting like J.C. Jackson kind of signing where it's like questionable in general.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I also believe that they have a lot of talent. Just for some strange reason, they just don't know how to close games. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see down the line. We're definitely going to circle the Chargers as a team to kind of watch for that. We'll probably talk about eventually, potentially a lot more.
Yeah. So something funny. I was talking to my buddy on the phone about the game, and he was telling me, he's like, I don't know, man. We keep losing games. Me and him and like a couple of my other buddies are going to the Ravens Chargers game in November.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I might just have to pull up to the game in a Ravens uniform. I was laughing. I was like, I got a jersey for you, bro. You just let me know.
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is for the Chargers. But moving on, Packers Falcons. Falcons win it by 1 point. All I'm gonna say, man, Bijan Robinson, ladies and gentlemen.
The truth.
I feel like people must have forgotten. I don't even know if they forgotten. They're probably trying to forget or not acknowledge the fact that he is a beast.
I feel like a lot of people just don't know rookies well enough to know like the insane amount of talent. Like they probably saw like, oh, Bijan went at what was it, 9?
I think eighth or ninth pick.
8?
Yeah.
Yeah, he went top 10 though.
Yeah, top 10 for sure.
And they're like, on a running back, why would you ever do that?
Yeah,
like the typical
exactly.
like, you don't draft the running back that early.
Yeah.
But his talent is just next level.
Yeah, I mean he's such a shifty running back. Like the amount of times he's made people miss, like here and there, is just ridiculous. Jordan Love, 151 yards and 3 touchdowns. Desmond Ridder, 237 and a touchdown. AJ Dillon, 15 rushes for 55 yards. Aaron Jones was not in the game. And then Bijan Robinson, 19 carries, 124 yards. He had a really nice 4th down conversion. I think they were trying to convert like a 4th and 1. It went to like, they ended up getting the 1st down and more. And then they just kicked the field goal basically. There were a few mental errors. Well, not mental, but there were a few errors from the Packers side where they were trying to convert a fourth and 1, I believe. And it was a obvious QB sneak, but I think Jordan Love had moved too early, and then it was a false start, and then I believe they had to punt the ball afterwards. I'm not sure if you saw that play. It was like all over social media or whatnot.
Hmm.
Yeah, but
I don't know if I saw that one. Is that the one where he like dodged like three dudes and then like got taken down?
no, 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 no. They were just trying
Okay.
to. It's fine. I'll probably send it to you another time. But it was
Okay.
basically it was basically just him trying to like move up, like before they even call hike, before they called hike. That's what happened. So it was a false start because of that. But anyways, hey man, Atlanta's doing their thing. They're 2-0, and that division is pretty stacked. Let's just call it what it is. To be honest. All
Yeah,
right.
they're like
Yeah, go ahead.
it's Atlanta is going to be one of those teams that like they finally had enough like high round picks that like those dudes are starting to show. It's kind of like the Bengals. When you've been bad for so long and you don't miss on picks, you're gonna have a team that's like above average, or not even above average, but like average. You know, like everyone thought that the Atlanta Falcons, the Cardinals, like
Commanders.
what other team? The Commanders, like those type of teams where like they're missing a quarterback, you know,
Right.
generally.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're going to be terrible. It's like they have enough star power to win a couple games.
Yeah, they definitely have the run game too, because it basically just seems like Atlanta is a run first team all of a sudden. I know they used to do a lot of damage through the air with Julio Jones, Roddy White, Calvin Ridley at the time, and things like that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's just a different coordinator though, I think.
it's a different team too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
entirely, yeah.
yeah, through and through. Yeah, yep. So next up, Colts against the 0-2. Well, now they're 0-2. Texans, 31-20. Gardner Minshew, 171 yards and a touchdown. C.J. Stroud, 384 and two touchdowns. Zach Moss, 18 rushes, 88 yards. Michael Pittman, 8 receptions, 56 yards. Damian Pierce, 15 rushes, 31 yards. And Nico Collins, 7 receptions, 146 yards, and one touchdown. We did see that Richardson had left the game. Anthony Richardson, he left the game after he ran for, I believe, his second touchdown. He banged his head like on the turf after the Texans defender tackled him. It was almost like a whiplash
Yeah.
kind of effect, and he seemed fine. And then I think he reported the symptoms to the team, and then as soon as
Yeah, he
possible,
self-reported it.
right? That's
Which is
very good by him.
like
That's
dude,
smart.
I was going to say more players should do that just for their own safety because a concussion just isn't something to mess around with.
Hmm. Yeah, but yeah, I'm glad that he reported it. And then as of today's recording, Gardner Minshew will be starting in this week's game, um, because he's still in concussion protocol. So they just right away they've already announced that he'll be starting in the next game. You know, there's one player that I haven't heard much about, Damian Pierce. I know he was kind of going crazy last season, but now just to start the season, he's been kind of quiet. He's been kind of quiet.
So the reason I think that is because one, the Texans O line is literally all backups.
Right.
Two, you now have a gunslinging QB. And then three, like the teams they're going against, the game script, like it's gonna be game script dependent. But like since they have Stroud that likes to throw it, you
Mm-hmm.
know, it's just one of those things that's like, where does he fit in? Because he's not a receiving back.
Yeah, yeah. You got a point. That's true. Yeah, we'll see what happens in week 3. But anyways, we're gonna go to the AFC North. This is our division here. Ravens going against the Bengals. The Ravens win it 27-24. Bengals were off to a very slow start, but then started picking up speed, but they ended up losing this one by 3. Lamar Jackson, 237 and 2 touchdowns. Gus Edwards, 10 rushes, 62 yards and a touchdown. Nelson Aguilar, 5 receptions, 63 yards. Joe Burrow, 222 yards and 2 touchdowns. Joe Mixon, 13 rushes and 59 yards. And then T. Higgins, 8 receptions, 39 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I'll let you have the floor on this one.
So it was just a very slow start for the Bengals, honestly. Like, besides a, like, I think it was a punt return touchdown,
Right. Yeah.
like, there was nothing going for them on offense. Like, it was just very slow, like, really bad,
Mm.
honestly.
Yeah.
Like, Joe Burrow, I think his calf, like, this week we could finally see him, like, tell it's his calf because he didn't navigate the pocket well at all. Like, he just honestly was kind of like a Philip Rivers, like, statue. Like, he didn't really, like, scramble or anything. He stayed still, and that really limited them because you can't build time before you have to throw it away or
Exactly.
force something, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just one of those, like, I think week one, we kind of assumed it was the, like, defensive Cleveland, the rain, and then Joe Burrow just, like, being rusty. Now I'm like, dude, we didn't even have our number one corner out there, and it was just rough. But I will say this: they could have won that game had Rocky Sin not made an incredible play on Jamar Chase in the end zone. Like, Jamar Chase went up, high pointed the ball, had the ball in his hand coming down, and Rocky Sin just basically turned into Kane from WWE and chokeslammed him. Like, it was like, if you've ever seen the, like, collage or, like, the video compilations of, like, the AFC North is the hood of the NFL, that's gonna be in there, bro. That was a good play, like, very, very physical play.
Mm.
But other than that, Lamar Jackson, as advertised, as expected, Zay Flowers continues to impress. Just good team win. The O-line, the Ravens O-line, set I think it was a record for, like, the lowest amount of pressure in a game
Oh, that's
of
good.
the, like, Super Bowl era.
Mm.
Lamar was under pressure like 9.1% of the time.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like, no type of pressure.
Mm. Yeah, no, I just wanted to say one thing about the Bengals. Joe Burrow did re-aggravate his calf injury, so that's something to kind of look into as this week moves on.
Yeah, I saw a report earlier that Joe's feeling a lot better today, but you know how that goes.
Yeah, exactly. So let's move on. We'll go to the Bears and the Buccaneers. Shaun, let me just say this, man. The Bears, they had so much hype in the offseason signing DJ Moore and all these other guys, and they're just falling flat. I don't necessarily understand. I don't really want. I just like, honestly, the NFL is so much better when the Bears are good, but the Bears are just not fun to watch. Justin Fields had people open, and instead of passing the ball, he kind of kept the ball. He threw a pick six at their own, like, what, 5 or 2 yard line, and that sealed the win for the Buccaneers. They win by 10, 27-17. Justin Fields 211 and a touchdown. Khalil Herbert just 7 rushes for 35 yards. DJ Moore 6 receptions under 4 yards. And then on the Buccaneers side, Baker Mayfield had a really good game, 317 yards and a touchdown. Rashard White 17 carries, 73 yards. And then Mike Evans. This is the same guy that the Buccaneers said we're not going to extend. He's putting on a show within 2 weeks. He had 6 catches, 171 yards, and he connected on a very nice touchdown play by Baker Mayfield for a touchdown.
Yeah, sorry, I was reading breaking news about the Bears that I'll talk about in a minute.
Go ahead. Yep.
It's Mike Evans. I feel like he's going to be a prime trade candidate at the deadline, just because, like, what are the Bucks really playing for?
Yeah.
Like, they need a QB. Baker isn't the long-term, like, answer. Like, if they can get, like, a mid-round quarterback, like, but it's one of those like I don't see. I just don't see like what they're doing.
Mm.
I they're winning games, which is great, but at the same time, it's like everyone thought they were going to tank for Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
And then here comes Baker slinging the ball,
Mm. Yeah, I mean, well, they won the game, so I mean, if you're a Buccaneers fan, that's good news, right? Because a lot of people they sort of doubted in Baker Mayfield, but he's shining in the with the Bucks, so I think that's fair news. That's good news to say. I'm not sure, but like I was saying
we'll see
earlier,
how it goes.
yeah, but like I was saying earlier, that NFC South division is stacked as the Saints beat the Panthers 20-17. Derek Carr 228 through the air, and then Taysom Hill, led the team in rushes, 9 attempts for 75 yards. Chris Olave 6 receptions and 86 yards. Bryce Young 153 yards and a touchdown. Miles Sanders 14 rushes, 43 yards, and then Adam Thielen 7 receptions, 54 yards, and a touchdown. If I'm being honest, I didn't really watch too much of this game. I know this is more of a defensive game for the Saints. I know they were causing trouble. They were causing a lot of trouble for Bryce Young. That I know of.
That's just a very good defense. I watched the first quarter and a half, and then I went over to the Steelers game. But it was just very slow moving. Like it just like when I was watching it, obviously it picked up a bit, but like the first half was kind of like, or the first quarter and a half was just kind of just slow, like very slow. Not a lot of receptions, not a lot of rushing yards. Just they turned it up in the second half, and I turned it off for the Steeler game.
Hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, look, we could just shift over there to the Steelers and the Browns. As the Steelers win it 26-23.
Hold on. I'm sorry to interrupt. R.I.P. Nick Chubb knee.
Let's first off, we got to mention that. Yeah, that was. You know what made me really mad, Shaun, is like how people just kept reposting it everywhere. Like, I understand, yes, you want to tell people what happened, but sometimes you just know when people do it, for views and for likes.
Yeah, they're doing it to get the cringe, you to cringe.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That injury was.
It's one of those things where they didn't show it on the national broadcast. You had to go search for it for the camera angle,
Mm-hmm.
And then the camera angle comes out, and I get on Instagram a couple hours later, and I'm just scrolling through 3 reels, and it comes up out of nowhere. It's why? And it was right as his knee gets hit, at the second. So there's no warning, nothing. You know exactly what you're doing at that point, and you shouldn't do that.
Exactly. Yeah. Deshaun Watson 235 yards and a touchdown. Kenny Pickett 222 and a touchdown. Ford had 16 carries and 106 yards. Najee Harris 10 rushes. Damn, man, only 10 rushes? Wow. 10 rushes.
Watch your profanity.
My bad. 10 rushes and 43 yards. And then Amari Cooper 7 receptions, 90 yards. And then my man George Pickens 4 receptions, 127 yards, and that amazing touchdown that went for about 70 yards or whatnot. Jaylen Warren mainly took the bulk of the first downs. I know, during the game, man, it was that our offense, the Steelers' offense, is just so stale, man. If I'm being honest, the game was so bad that the crowd was saying "Fire Canada." If you don't know who that is, it's the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Matt Canada. Yeah, he's been there for about 3 years. I don't understand how he's still. I don't understand how he's still employed by the Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of fans were really happy to see the offense in the preseason, how they were making play after play and stuff like that. But, obviously preseason is one thing. The actual season is another thing. And then as far as Deshaun Watson goes, The very first play was a pick six. It wasn't really his
That's
fault.
tough.
It wasn't really his fault, but I mean, if it's on the first play, I'd rather run the ball. I wouldn't really. But just to get things going, I guess be spontaneous and throw the ball to the left side where there's a lot of defenders. And then he had I think he had two or three personal fouls that took them back a lot of yards. He got sacked a couple times, and then T.J. Watt is officially the all-time sack leader for the Pittsburgh Steelers with 81 and a half sacks. So congrats to him. And then all I'm gonna say is the defense basically won the game for the Steelers. Offense, like I said, was just so super stale. Nothing moving, nothing going. It sucks not having Deontay Johnson on the team. I wish Pat Freiermuth could be incorporated a lot more, as well as Washington, the tight end who they drafted out of Georgia. But he's more of a blocking tight end, but he could still catch. But still, I mean, he just has to make a better game plan. The Steelers got lucky, man. I think they got lucky that they won this game solely because of the defense. Yeah, it's just it was a good game, but when you're thinking about the Nick Chubb situation, I'm not thinking about Nick Chubb the player. I'm thinking about Nick Chubb the person, because it's a long recovery. And for those that don't know, that was the same knee injury. I mean, that was the same knee where he got injured when he was playing in the University of Georgia against Tennessee, where he got hurt at that time.
In 2015.
Yeah, exactly. 2015.
So, from what I've heard, is it's a obviously multi ligament, if not every single ligament.
Meniscus, everything.
Yeah, the entire knee, like at that point. But originally he didn't tear his ACL, which is surprising because he tore everything else, But to come back from that injury and then do what he's done, like he was like, I would regard him as like probably the best pure rusher. Him and Derrick Henry are like the only two you could argue. But I think Nick Chubb, like rush for rush, is better or was better.
Yeah, he was like a pure running back.
Yeah, he was like the best pure rusher. Like, it's just sad because I'm not trying to get into like what I feel about the play, because it doesn't understand why Mika Fitzpatrick is going for his knee with his helmet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, my prayers go to him, and I hope he recovers, man. I really do.
I hope he can like walk comfortably, without pain and like without any noticeable limp at all. Because 2 catastrophic knee injuries is tough.
Yeah. So I think this one game we didn't talk about, Dolphins and the Patriots. I don't know how I missed this one. Dolphins go 2-0 against their rivals. Patriots fall 0-2 for the first time since 2001. Dolphins win it 24-17. Tua Tagovailoa, man, 249. I mean, obviously he didn't throw for 400 plus yards, but Raheem Mostert, man. Raheem Mostert, 18 rushes, 121 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Jalen Waddle, 4 receptions and 86 yards. He eventually had to leave the game, I believe, because of a concussion. And then Mac Jones, 231 and a touchdown. Ramondre Stevenson, 15 rushes and 50 yards and a touchdown. And Devontae Parker, 6 receptions and 57 yards. It's good to see him back on the field. I don't remember what his injury was, but he wasn't available in week 1. But I will say, Raheem Mostert, man, he scored a nice touchdown where he was like untouched.
Yep. Walked right into the end zone, no problem.
Yeah, and the fact that like the Dolphins just make plays like that, like it's just super quick, like it's just lightning speed, because obviously their number 1 and 2 receivers are lightning quick, So Tua has to like sling that ball incredibly fast every single time, every single play.
I'll be honest, it's not even just Jalen Waddle and
Barrios as well. I forgot about him, number 0.
Oh yeah, Braxton Berrios.
Yeah, yeah.
But like Raheem Mostert's really fast. A-Chain's really fast. Like that whole team is just a bunch of track stars.
Mm. Yeah, they just have a lot of speedsters on that team. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I know let's before the episode ends. I know we should dive into this a little bit because like this is sort of news coming out of the Bears as their defensive coordinator Alan Williams is basically resigning from his defensive coordinator role. It's pretty. I mean, some of the evidence here is pretty serious. Apparently, okay, so I'll just read what I have. The FBI raided Chicago Bears defensive coordinator Alan Williams' home due to some very serious allegations. The sting found some extremely sensitive content, quote unquote content, and Williams will most likely never coach again for the Chicago Bears. And then his statement is, "I'm taking a step back to take care of my health and family. I appreciate the opportunity to work with the Chicago Bears, a storied NFL franchise with a rich history. The McCaskey family is first class and second to none. I would also like to thank Coach Mac Eberflus and General Manager Ryan Poles for giving me the opportunity to come to Chicago. I would also like to thank President Kevin Warren, the coaches and player of which I value the relationships and camaraderie. I value the NFL Shield and all that it stands for, and after taking some time to address my health, I plan to come back and coach again." So, all I'm going to say is, man, when I think of content, that's kind of that's a sensitive topic to talk about. There's still news flowing, so be sure to like check out my page, which is NFL Underground, for more information. Yeah, we're just like as we're recording, we're just getting this live, and I'm also like looking into it as we were talking through the episode. But I think it's safe to say that we could close this episode out, unless if you have anything else to say, Shaun.
Who do you got in Thursday's game between the Giants?
49ers.
We shouldn't even have bothered
49ers. I'm sorry, 49ers. But 49ers, yeah.
If the 49ers somehow choke this game away, Jesus.
Yeah, I wonder, man. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, crazier things have happened in the NFL, so yeah, a lot of crazy things have happened in the NFL. So we just don't know. We don't know, but we'll see what happens, man. We will see what happens. I have 49ers winning it 30-14. 30-14.
I think 14 is kind of generous.
Yeah, I know. I'm being too kind.
Honestly, I don't even know what to predict the score to be. I think I don't even know what the score is going to be, but I got Niners.
You got the Niners? Okay, that's fair.
Bang, bang, Niner gang.
Oh, man. All right, well, with that all being said, that closes out today's episode. Thank you all for listening and watching. I'm Abdullah, and Shaun is on the other line. You can check out our social medias. My social medias are ABMXOTWOD. That's my personal. And then Steelers Unified. That's my Steelers page. And then NFL Underground. That's my full-on NFL page where I post news and things like that. And then Shaun's Instagram.
And then mine, I'll introduce it. No, I'm just joking. Mine is I am just chilling.
Perfect. There we go, man. And hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.